Hello and welcome back all you StAUSCC fans. Today we have a special entry into our player profile series. And in the spotlight is our club president and virtual club captain, the King of Krail and our dear leader, Stan Frankland. Now, what can we say about Stan? His long and illustrious career for the St Andrews University Staff Cricket Club almost defies description. And because of this, I've let one of our close friends, Madhav Kathari, club member and Stan Frankland enthusiast, say a few words.
Stan Frankland is a fashionista. Just by looking at his Chelsea boots, you'd know this man is more than meets the eye. When he walks into a room, he creates an air of presence around him. People stop, breathe, pause, look to see the man, the flesh himself. His cricketing prowess over anything else is primarily at the forefront of some of man's greatest achievements. His stats really do speak for himself.
That's right, Dev, indeed they do. And it's almost easier to list the club records which aren't held by Stan than to go through all those which are. Stan holds the record for most runs for the club, having scored more than the next two on the list combined, most centuries, most 50s, and that's just with the bat. With the ball, his off-spin has earned him the most wickets in club history too, and he even has a stumping to his name. Anything else you'd like to add, Dev?
He has the stamina of an ox, the drive of a lion, and the virility of a musk deer in heat.
Probably a good time to move on to his stats. Let's start with his batting.
His style is, I would say, orthodox. However, he doesn't wear a helmet. Sometimes he'll have a smoke on a fine Marlboro Red and often stare the bowler in the eye.
Well, none of that is untrue. Stan is a very proficient batsman, able to play a wide variety of shots all around the ground. However, Stan derives the greatest pleasure, I think it's fair to say, in the late cut, which he uses to bisect fielders with precision and cause untold frustration for bowlers. So I've tried to take this all into consideration when assigning his stats. Bowling now, Dav?
Stan is a fantastic bowler. If you place people really far back on the boundary or mid-on or mid-off, you're almost guaranteed a catch. Having said that, in St Andrews cricket, it does depend who's on the edge of the boundary.
While I don't necessarily disagree, I think that description does Stan a bit of a disservice. What sets him apart as a spinner in our grade, and indeed in our team, is his precision and patience. Unlike a certain other off-spinner, Stan is rarely shaken, but persists in bowling to a plan, and in conjunction with a bit of flight and a bit of guile, he usually ends up getting his man. On to his fielding now, and despite his presence in the virtual covers, in real life, Stan is rarely seen out of the gully region. This is not only to cover for his lack of a throwing arm, but also due to his preternatural ability to get his hands on the ball.
Stan Frankland has caught many a ball, sort of just below the ankle. Although this looks and could potentially be hard for him, I'd argue that Stan Frankland has always managed to make a catch.
I'm not even sure that last part made sense, but the sentiment stands. Chalk it down to cat-like reflexes, some instinct of self-preservation, or just plain old good fortune. It is unreal how often a ball flying through that area ends up in Stan's hands, and I've tried to reflect this in his skill allotment. On to his skill perks now, and I think I'll handle this one myself, Dev. Again, as always, I've tried to use these perks to encapsulate Stan as a cricketer, but also as a teammate. I'd like to highlight the Born Leader perk, which increases his leadership, but at a cost to his agility, which I think we'll all agree is fairly apt. The Have a Break perk refers to Stan's tendency to smuggle cigarettes onto the field, and Primary Producer, well, because he's undoubtedly the club's foremost producer of runs and wickets on the field. Stan is a club legend. No other player has had a bigger on-field impact upon the trajectory of the club in the last 2 decades. Stan has won countless matches for the side and will likely go on to win many, many more, both in real life and for us here in virtual reality. Dev, anything to add?
Just a huge thank you to Stan Frankland for his services to the wider cricketing community of the United Kingdom, and especially to the cricketing community of St Andrews. We can't thank you enough. He is actually a wonderful gentleman. He has been a very supportive and mentoring figure within the St Andrews team.
I couldn't have said it better myself. This has been a particularly important episode for me personally. Throughout my time at the club, Stan has been a role model, on the field at least, and typified the spirit of St Andrews staff cricket. So, thank you, Stan. And now you know Stan Frankland. I guess all that's left for me to say is thank you to everyone watching. Please subscribe to keep up to date with all our virtual St Andrews University Staff Cricket Club content. And as always, I've been Jim the Editor. I hope you hear from me soon.